Welcome to yet another Path of Exile video guide. This one is a bit off meta since it's a Glacial hammer on a Slayer. Glacial hammer is one of the first skills you've probably had a chance to experiment with. It's a very simple melee strike, but a very effective one. It basically is an attack enhancement with a high chance to freeze, added cold damage, and increased strike range. This ability converts all of the weapon's physical damage to cold, making it very easy to assemble. The newest addition to this build is a Heat Shiver helmet that adds a lot of extra fire damage. It also has a much better clear speed since the 3.20 change to the Tribal Fury notable. The build wasn't expected to perform well as a fast mapper, and it definitely isn't one, but it is still at an acceptable level due to the abundance of frenzy charges and shattering mechanics. We wanted to expand on the dormant single target potential of Glacial Hammer, so we went with a Slayer. With Bane of Legends and Headsman, the character will be able to kill bosses with ease. Masterful Form will increase its damage after combining it with Arn's Anguish to create brutal charges. The impact is chosen for a better clear speed and damage. Glacial Hammer will be the only skill you will need to use. It can easily shatter enemies, so combined with Herald of Ice it offers a decent area of effect even when it's not supported by Melee Splash or Ancestral Call. It can freeze most of the bosses, making it a safe choice. The defenses of the build have been more of an afterthought, but luckily for us, it can be easily patched up with tons of armor, fortify buff, and about 5,000 maximum life. Overall it has average or above average survivability, depending on your gear. Clear speed is comparable to that of a Bone Shatter, a melee strike that kills an entire pack of monsters with one swing. Single target damage is excellent. You have all the good Slayer's keystones and the damage of the Glacial Hammer. The build is cheap and can be started on a budget, but the gradual upgrade to a high-end form is really expensive. The build consists mostly of rare items. The mandatory unique belt converts endurance charges to brutal charges, each granting you an increased chance to triple your damage. The easiest way to generate these charges is via replica Ferul's fur, but there are other means to do so. Heat Shiver adds 100% of cold damage as extra fire damage against frozen opponents, and you're guaranteed to freeze every third attack, so it simply doubles your damage. It's the best option. Frost Breath is a weapon that deals double damage against chilled enemies. It's quite good and definitely cheap. You may want to seek some corrupted copies with more useful implicit mods. Yule Nettle's Vow is an amulet that grants you the 7th socket, and for a build like this, it would be extremely beneficial. Replica Ferul's fur is the armor you should definitely own, for it generates you the endurance charges. The maximum amount of them is equal to the frenzy ones thanks to the Masterful Form. Darkray Vectors grant you an extra frenzy charge and some other very useful bonuses based on the number of your active frenzy charges. A great option for increased mobility. Arn's Anguish transforms your endurance charges into brutal charges so that you're very likely to deal triple damage with hits. It's a massive damage boost and there is no replacement for this belt. You can use Unnatural Instinct Jewel. The best place to put it is near the center of the skill tree. It will grant you a lot of various effects such as resistances, damage, and movement speed. Lethal Pride can be used to gain an additional strength and some suitable modifiers as you put it near Savagery and Vigor. It can be re-rolled using Divine Orbs if the modifiers aren't exactly what you were hoping for. Intuitive Leap can be put near Fervor to allocate a few useful notables in the radius. Pick Herbalism, Fervor, Acuity, and Survivalist for better performance. On your Watcher's Eye, seek Cold Penetration or added cold damage with Hatred. These are the best offensive mods you can find. For defensive aura modifiers, look for the Determination ones. You're using an attack that converts all of its physical damage to cold. The most efficient way to increase your DPS is to look for added cold or physical damage to attacks. The character deals no critical strikes, but your accuracy rating must be higher than your maximum life to activate the precise technique. You will have to look for it on a helmet, gloves, jewels, and jewelry. To fit in all the auras, we've used a mana reservation efficiency cluster jewel, which might be expensive. On a helmet, look mostly for life, resistances, accuracy rating, and a cold damage reduction for nearby opponents. All of the Glacial Hammer enchantments are great additions to the build. Body armor should be only a transitioning armor, so don't invest too much in it, just enough to get a lot of life and resistances. Replica Ferrule's fur is a much better option here. When buying a rare mace or a scepter, just sort the weapons by the physical or cold damage per second on the trading website and get the one with the highest number you can afford. Attack speed is obligatory. Shield is used for more maximum life and increased mana reservation efficiency. It can also get you more block chance, armor, and elemental resistances. As was the case with a rare armor, get a belt good enough until you can afford Arn's Anguish. Life, elemental resistances, and elemental damage with attacks are the suitable affixes here. On an amulet, prioritize life and resistances, then look for accuracy, added damage, and some missing attributes. You should anoint it with Divine Judgment or Panopticon. If you need accuracy, go for Weathered Hunter or Finesse. On your rings, besides life and resistances, seek offensive or utility mods such as the ones listed here. Steel rings are great for their inherent added damage. If you have no other means to afflict frostbite, get this curse as an on-hit effect here. Life and accuracy rating are the most important mods on the gloves. The more expensive ones include additional targeting for strikes and maximum frenzy charges. Remember, you can enchant it with Searing Exarch implicit mod for additional strikes. Rare jewels should provide extra maximum life and various damage bonuses for maces or one-handed weapons. You can also get the missing resistances or attributes here quite easily. We've used just one large cluster jewel. If you don't have a mana leech source, get Fuel the Fight notable. For more damage, pick Martial Prowess. Overlord is a great source of Fortify. When it comes to small cluster jewel, try to get as much mana reservation efficiency as you can to fit all the auras. If you don't need it, just use regular jewels instead. There are 3 unique flasks that you should definitely use. Lion's Roar, the best flask for melee physical builds. The damage it grants will be converted to cold. Taste of Hate, it adds a lot of cold damage to your attack, which is sourced from your physical damage. Another flask to use is Atziri's Promise. It grants chaos resistance, life leech, and extra chaos damage from your physical and elemental damage. For the magic flasks, we recommend using Life Flask with instant life on use, and Quicksilver Flask with random ailment removal for better mobility. For your main damage setup, use Glacial Hammer. It's a strike skill that deals a lot of cold damage to a single target. Every third attack freezes enemies and deals more damage. Link it to elemental damage with attacks, melee physical damage, Ice Bite, Cold Penetration, and Multi-Strike. Melee physical damage can be replaced with Ruthless, or socketed in Yule Nettle's Vow. As for auras, pick Hatred, Determination, and Herald of Ice. You can socket these auras on a shield with increased mana reservation efficiency. Hatred simply increases your cold damage. Herald of Ice adds damage to your attacks and makes the frozen enemies explode on kill for an extra area of effect. Determination adds and increases armor for physical mitigation. The other auras you can use are Blood and Sand, for more area of effect or area damage. Defiance Banner. It increases your armor and evasion rating while reducing the critical strike chance of nearby opponents. If you need accuracy rating, replace it with War Banner. And Precision. It's used only to get enough accuracy for the precise technique. You might not need it at all. Link them to Enlightened support. For your Ancestral Totem setup, use both Ancestral Protector and Ancestral Warchief. One grants you more attack speed, and the other more attack damage. Link them both to multiple totem support. It allows you to summon both totems at the same time. You should also use the Frost Bomb. It applies cold exposure for reduced cold resistance and reduces life regeneration rate. Keep it at level 1, and link it to a level 1 cast when damage taken. It should activate fairly often. Link it also to a Bonechhill support so that enemies in chilling areas created by Frostbomb will receive more damage. For a mobility skill, use Leap Slam. It allows you to jump and move faster, especially after connecting it with faster attack support. Molten Shell is a guard spell that reduces the damage you take from hits for a short time. It scales up with your armor. Blood Rage increases your life leech, attack speed, and grants frenzy charges on kill. It drains your life over time. In Act 2, given the choice, you should kill all 3 bandits and talk to Aramir for the 2 additional skill points. For a major god, we've chosen Soul of Solaris to take less damage when fighting only one enemy, but you can also choose Soul of Lunaris, as you will often find yourself surrounded by enemies. For a minor god, pick Gruthkul, as it reduces the damage you take if you're getting hit frequently, but all of the minor gods are good choices with their own merits. You can choose any. On the passive skill tree, we've allocated 3 keystones: Iron Reflexes, Unwavering Stance, and Precise Technique. You don't have to go out of your way to get them. Savagery, Fervor, and Frenetic have been allocated for extra maximum frenzy charges. Get some maximum life from Golem's Blood, Constitution, Thick Skin, Herbalism, and Blood Drinker. Pick 1 or 2 life masteries for added or increased maximum life. Allocate Clever Thief only if you don't have any other mana leech source, as you won't need much of it. Remember to pick all the nodes for increased mana reservation efficiency in your cluster with Champion of the Cause. Tribal Fury is an important notable as it makes your strike deal splash damage. The attack mastery that you can get from this cluster should allow your strikes to target enemies further away. Another thing you can change is to pick Determination's reservation efficiency as Armor Mastery, or allocate the furthest extra maximum frenzy charge via Amulet Anointment. In this setup, you're able to put up to 2 large cluster jewels, but we've decided to have only 1. And that's everything that you need to know about Glacial Hammerslayers. The build offers a lot of wiggle room for minor adjustments, so feel free to do so. If you found this video informative, leave a like or a comment down below. Stay tuned for the next video and take it easy.